What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer, and today I wanted to discuss Overwatch and its possible future as a free-to-play game. Sure, it's had countless free-to-play weeks and weekends over the past 2.5 years it's been out, but will it ever become permanently free-to-play? And if so, could it be sooner than we think? In this video, I'm going to delve into when and why Blizzard might ultimately push Overwatch into being free-to-play, and what sort of pros and cons would accompany a change like this. In today's gaming market, free-to-play games have become an incredibly popular business model. Many MOBAs like Dota, League of Legends, and Blizzard's own Heroes of the Storm have been utilizing the free-to-play model for years. And more recently, free-to-play shooter games like Fortnite have garnered massive success as well. Being free-to-play makes the game vastly more accessible, as there is no barrier to entry other than having a PC, console, or phone capable of running it. Whether you don't have the money to spend on the game or are simply hesitant to try something you may ultimately not enjoy, being free to play is a great way to draw in new players, especially those who fit the casual demographic. The way these free to play games make money is through their in-game microtransactions, charging for cosmetics and, God forbid, gameplay advantages. Many games ultimately end up making much more money off these numerous small transactions than if they were to just charge an upfront cost. Now, getting back to Overwatch, it has both an upfront cost and in-game cosmetic microtransactions. So what gives? With the regular AAA price of $60 USD, and even the option to spend only $40 with a PC standard edition of the game, Blizzard certainly isn't making huge bank on just selling game copies, especially with all the added costs of the game being continually developed. I mean, sure, there's some money being made there, but compared to what they make from those same players via microtransactions over time, the cost of entry really ends up just being a small percent of the total lifetime profits, especially since it's an ongoing game that's still actively being developed. So why are they charging new players entry when a free-to-play model could easily net them more players and thus more money through the microtransactions those new players would make over time? Well, there is actually one very, very good reason to keep a game like Overwatch pay to enter, and that's Smurfs. I probably don't need to explain this to most of you watching, but Smurfs can be a big problem for games like Overwatch. Simply put, Smurfs are players who intentionally lower their own rank in order to be matched against people far below their actual skill level, thus allowing them to completely stomp the enemies they get matched against. While people like this are undeniably scum, and Blizzard will often ban people who have been found to do this, there's little that can be done to stop hardcore Smurfs from just making new accounts to come back and continue to cause havoc. One of the only reliable barriers to prevent Smurfs from continually making new accounts is the paywall. Making multiple accounts literally costs them money with each new account, which is oftentimes enough to make them think twice about whether ruining other people's gameplay experiences is really worth it to them. I have no doubt that Blizzard keeping the game pay to enter is at least partially in the interest of limiting the number of Smurf accounts that get created. Whether this is more important to them than the extra cash it also makes is up for debate, but given how much they've invested into the Overwatch League and the way they balance the game, it seems safe to say that they care deeply for the more serious side of the player base. And since Smurfs are often a bigger bane for the more competitive players, I think it's safe to say that Blizzard's overall goal has been to try and prevent that as much as possible. However, they can't solely focus on the pro scene. After all, the casual players by far make up the vast majority of Overwatch's player base. Even if Blizzard likes having serious dedicated players, they need the casual audience in order to make enough money to keep the servers running. And this is why we've seen so many free-to-play periods. Let new casual players try out the game at no cost to them, and usually that'll be enough to get them hooked as a paying player. This method becomes even more effective given that Blizzard usually offers Overwatch at a 50% off discount during these free-to-play periods, thus making the sale all the more likely. But as many of you likely recall, Overwatch recently had a free-to-play week which coincided with a 66% off sale rather than the usual 50% we'd seen in the past. As far as I'm aware, this is the cheapest that the game has ever been when being bought directly from Blizzard. While it has been cheaper through other third-party distributors such as physical stores and Humble Bundle, those often have separate variables at play which Blizzard themselves don't control. When looking at the purchase price directly from Blizzard, this seems to be the cheapest it's ever been. While it's possible that this was just a one-time exception for Black Friday, it may actually have been been the first step towards Overwatch eventually becoming free to play. That may seem like a bit of a leap from just one big sale, but there's good reason why they'd be heading in this direction. With each passing day and month and year, Overwatch gets less popular. That's not to say it doesn't still have a huge fan base, or that it won't have one for a long time to come still, but it's undeniably waning. It's entirely normal and is something that most games go through following their initial launch. As we grow farther and farther from its initial release back in May of 2016, the game becomes increasingly irrelevant as more new games pop up to catch the eyes of casual players. Blizzard needs to try harder to catch those same new players, and one of the best ways for them to do this is by lowering the barrier of entry. Someone who may have been put off by even a 50% discount a year ago may now be swayed by the 66% off, and as time goes on, it will keep going lower in order to draw in every last player it can. Every year since the game's release, Blizzard has sweetened the deal of purchasing the full $60 version of the game. At launch, it was called Origins Edition, followed by Game of the Year Edition, and currently Legendary Edition. Each new iteration was released exactly 1 year after the previous, coinciding with that year's in-game anniversary event, and each new version added more free loot boxes and skins to make it better than the year previous. I believe we'll continue to see new iterations of the special edition as time goes on, but eventually, $60 will be too much, no matter how many free in-game cosmetics you end up getting. Therefore, 1 year instead of adding to this special edition, Overwatch will become permanently free to play. The ultimate final move to bring in more players. But long before that happens, we're likely going to see some precursors. The first will be bigger and more frequent sales. We've perhaps already seen a step in this direction with the recent 66% off Black Friday sale, but we'll just have to wait and see if there will be more sales with this steep of a discount or bigger. If Overwatch goes free to play, Blizzard will want to squeeze every last cent out of people before that happens, so expect to see a lot of sales before then. The other thing that we'll likely see is a permanent price cut. It's hard to say what exactly the new price would be, as it would have to be cheap enough to entice players who hadn't previously gotten it during one of the sales. Also, there's a good chance that this price cut will happen during a future anniversary event as well, in order to fit with the new special edition iteration we've seen happen each year so far. However, I believe that even just this price drop is still a ways off, like maybe when we're celebrating Overwatch's 5th anniversary at the earliest. You see, despite all the doom and gloom that gets thrown around about Overwatch on a daily basis, the game is still wildly successful. Blizzard can still make money off people paying $60 for it, and the regular sales and free-to-play periods will entice new casuals to join the fray. If Overwatch's price permanently drops or goes full-on free-to-play within the next couple years, that more than anything will be a cause for alarm. Not only would it open the Smurf floodgates, but it'd pretty much be Blizzard's last-ditch effort to get players before the game simply becomes infeasible to keep running. But considering the long-term success of Blizzard's other IPs, we likely won't need to worry about Overwatch being even remotely dead for quite a while still. While I do think that Blizzard will make the game free to play before shutting down the servers at the eventual end of the game's life, that's going to be an incredibly long ways off. Like, at least more than a decade from now. By then, there will almost certainly be either an Overwatch sequel, or at least some other kind of game set in the Overwatch universe. I don't want to get too much into it here, since it's an excellent topic for its own future video, but the Overwatch franchise is far too successful to be limited to just this one FPS title. Whether it's a direct sequel made on a new engine when this one becomes too dated, or some kind of spin-off title in a different genre, we're absolutely going to see other games in the Overwatch universe. In fact, making Overwatch free to play could happen as a direct result of a new game like this. If there's a new Overwatch 2 or some other game that ends up replacing it, making the original Overwatch that we're playing today free would be a great way to get players invested in the characters and universe, so they might be more enticed to purchase the newer product. But again, we're talking about as much as 10 years from now, so there's no need to fear the Smurf apocalypse just yet. In closing, yes, I think Overwatch will one day become free to play, but don't hold your breath. It'll likely still be years before we even see a permanent price drop, and many more years after that before the Smurfs get free reign. But I'm glad it'll be a while, unless you are under very specific circumstances where you can't even get it for $20 on sale somewhere. Making the game free to play won't really carry any real benefits to us, especially not us players who already own it. So ultimately, I think it's fair to keep the game pay to enter for a while still to come. But these have just been my thoughts on Overwatch and its very distant future as a free to play game. Let me know your thoughts about it by commenting below and voting in today's poll card. Do you agree that it should remain pay to play, or do you think the benefits of free to play outweigh the danger of Smurfs? Either way, leave a like if you enjoyed this video and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit the bell to keep up with all my future Overwatch news and content. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, Overwatch still has a long life ahead of it, so have a great day.